Hey guys, this is ChosenArchitect, and today we're going to be launching some satellites into space. Hopefully you guys are ready. Alright guys, so we have a lot of work ahead of us in today's episode. We have to build quite a few things, set up some processing of some fluids and things like that. But first of all, I'm going to go over some of the things I made off camera, because what I figured is it'll make this a little bit more smooth if I'm not sitting in front of a crafting grid the entire time. So I went ahead and pre-made all of the items that we're going to need for today's episode. You can thank me later, so we're not sitting in front of that in front of the crafting grid the whole time. So this is going to make it a little bit easier for us to kind of understand and follow along with what I'm doing, because this can kind of get confusing for some people. And I think I've already missed a few things. Actually, I think I need fluid pipes, so I can extract from here because I didn't actually bring any. But with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and start working on some things. So, to get started, I have my two fluids, and I've already went ahead and started working on this. So, we got our satellite done last time. Now we need to get this chemical reaction going. So it says I need to create rocket fuel to be able to launch my rockets. And it says the hydrogen and oxygen gas I found might be suitable. I just need to build a chemical reactor to combine those two gases. Now, that is completely understandable, and we are going to go ahead and try and set that up. Now, this little platform over here is going to be the start of our Astral Sorcery, or not Astral Sorcery, just getting me all confused, of our advanced rocketry. And we're putting it next to our, we're putting this over here with our satellites. We may do our rocket over here. I don't know. But I went ahead and put this nice little wall around this thing. It makes it a little bit nicer, so I don't have to worry about things shooting at me. And yeah, it's just kind of aesthetic looking, you know, just kind of a wall in the middle of nowhere. But it kind of looks like a rocket, to be honest, from the top. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this chemical reactor set up. So it ended up giving me another high-load projector. Cubus did reach out to me and tell me that this is not intended. This actually should probably be before hand, like further up. So that is something that should have been. We already made this thing because it was actually required for the satellite. So that may be something that changes later on, but the chemical reaction one should be fine. So let's go ahead and set our halo projector to the chemical reactor. Where is it at? Chemical reactor. So it's set. Now let's go ahead and grab all the items we're going to need for today, minus our halo projector, because we don't need that thing. And I think I'm going to set this guy somewhere over here. Okay, so this is the power input plug, power. Trying to remember, is this thing backwards? I want it here. There we go. And this is centered. It's sort of centered. Let's set it here. There we go. That's going to be a little bit better. And I'm going to actually run power underneath here. So that way we can just have a power cell go in here. I may actually just place it there so we can actually see the power. And yeah, this is all going to go underground, and these power plugs, which are highlighted there, are actually going to receive power down here, which is going to work out. There we go. And that's just going to be some leadstone hooked up to that. Because a lot of this stuff just gets powered with your normal, you know, power. Nothing fancy. There we go. All right, so with that done, let's go ahead and clear this out, replace it. So we're gonna have a motor here. And I went ahead and made the best motor, the elite motor. We have all the resources for it, so that kind of helps. I think this has to actually go the way it shows. So I'm gonna try and place it this direction. There we go. Back to this. All right, and we need the power input plugs. This one actually requires 2, which sounds crazy, but it just requires 2 for some reason. A fluid output hatch. Fluid output hatch is right here. The fluid. Oh, actually, we want the output hatch to be over here and the input being over here, which we're gonna have 2 inputs, I think. I want the output hatch to be closer to where our rocket's actually gonna be. Fluid output hatch. Voila. It says 2 fluid output hatches. Do I even have 2 fluid output hatches? Oh, this is an output. Let me just make sure this is not just an output. That could mess me up later on. This is just an output hatch. For like a solid. This is the fluid one. See, sometimes these blocks can get confusing. The machine structure block. And then we need to hold shift and scroll up. The chemical reactor is going to go here. And if I remember correctly, this is a really cool looking machine. Then we have a normal input hatch. And 2 fluid input hatches. And then we can pop in here, and there we go. So this is set up. This is the chemical reactor. Ready to go, right? I think everything's hooked up, ready to go. This is the cool looking side right here. This is where all the money happens. So yeah, we have the input. I think it can go on any side. So we could actually set these on top. So fluid input hatches, and then it'll output back here. So what I should be able to do, I'm going to see if these will directly flow in. I should be able to hit this. And yes, it will automatically fill in there. And there it goes. And we're mixing. Okay, it says no power. Which is confusing. Because I need to set this to output. Now we should have full power. There we go. And now it's processing. And what are we generating? Yep, that's right, rocket fuel. Now we do need to make sure these are running and stay running, because they have a chance of, if they stop filling with the amount of fluid that's in them, they will possibly fill with the actual starlight instead, because they're so close. But these two, when they're on, they should be generating. Right now we have a plenty to just let this thing run, because we have these storage buffers full and those storage buffers full. And we just need to let this make some rocket fuel. So that's one step done. Now it's into getting the rocket platform and everything made to send rockets with satellites up into space. But I am kind of confused, just a little bit, on what we actually need these satellites for. Because normally these satellites are used in this mod, so that way you can do your research and you can gather data on the planets or asteroids and be able to locate them. But I was looking at the Halo projector here. And if we take a look at the Astral body data processor, which is one of the multi-blocks you actually have to make to be able to process the data, if we take a look at this, this requires a Astral body data processor. And I was looking, and I actually couldn't find it. I even went in here. Let's take a look here. So the Astral body, there's nothing for it. And I even went in here and unhid this to kind of see if I was looking, because I was doing some debug work to see if I could find it. There's nothing, like nothing at all, for what this is asking, the Astral body data processor. Even if you search data, nothing comes up except for one of like these are parts. Like even this cable is hidden. It says depreciated. So maybe there's something else they added. I'm gonna have to learn, because as of right now, I don't know. I don't know what is there. Like I don't know. I have no idea. I just don't know what we need to be able to do for these. I mean, once we send them up to space, I did go ahead and make some satellite terminals, so we can actually, get the data processing. But for right now, we don't have anything to do. So we're just going to send these up to space anyways, just to kind of get them going. This thing is definitely processing. I'm going to get some fluid pipes for that later. That way we can automatically set this up in a tank or something. We can hook it up to our fuel station and get that going. But let's go ahead and read what we have to do here at the rocket. So it says, now I need to launch the satellites into space. I need a launch pad of variable size, a tower at least as high as the finished rocket, and a rocket assembling machine. The rocket itself needs engines and tanks, and the satellite bay to deploy the satellite. Then I need to link a rocket monitoring station to the rocket assembly machine. And that's mainly because you have to have that to be able to launch a satellite, because you're not actually on the rocket to launch it yourself. So we got a linker. That thing actually come from the quest. Then we're actually going to need, first of all, to build our satellites. So let's go ahead and start to build our satellites. That shouldn't take too long to do. So we have our satellite builder. We're actually going to need a power plug. Just one. And we're going to get this thing set up. So we know we have power right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and hook that right there. Satellite builder there. Perfect. So now we should be able to access this and build a satellite. Let's kind of get our inventory a little bit sorted so we don't lose track of things. All right, and grab our satellites. We're going to need all these different parts for each satellite. Just like so. And we're also going to need 9 solar panels, 9 data storage chips, and a satellite ID chip for each satellite. So let's go ahead and get these things in here. So we have a satellite chassis. We're going to need a satellite ID chip. Then their solar panels go here, and then we're going to need data storage here. And then right here is where you put your optical sensor or mass detector or composite sensor. Any of those. And once you get those in there, you hit build. And what you're going to get is a satellite ID chip with a mark on it. You need to keep that because these are unprogrammed, these are programmed, and you need to keep them with your satellite. This says ID 0, this says ID 0. So make sure you keep those together. And do the same for this one. Except these are all going to be, you know, their own satellite. They're going to all be different. But like I said, I don't understand what exactly we have to do with these. I did message Cubus, so maybe he'll let me know. But I am kind of confused because this is a little bit different than what I remember last time I messed around with this mod. And there we go. So we have our last satellite. Now we're going to keep the ID chips, but the satellites themselves are going to be the ones going into space. So now that we have that done, satellite builder is basically null and void now. Over here, we're going to set up our processors for the satellites whenever we get them up into space. But we need to take this launch pad, and if we take a look at some of these recipes, the launch pad is actually concrete, which is pretty simple to make, as we've made tons of it already. And the satellite bay, they're not too bad either, just some more titanium. And this is just steel, right here, just steel rods. So nothing too fancy. The satellite terminals are not really fancy either. I think these are actually the vanilla recipe. Like, that's what makes me confused. I don't know if these are actually intended. It's not mentioned in the quest to make the satellite terminals, but if we're even going to remotely use the satellites, I thought we had to actually use them for data processing. Otherwise, we don't even need them. I don't know. I don't know. But let's go ahead and get the launch pad set up. So the launch pad is not going to be too difficult. Honestly, we can just do a 3x3. I think we have enough to do a little bit more than that, though. He wanted 25, but you get 2 of them per. So that's plenty big enough. Throw our junk materials over here. We don't need any of that. There we go. And once we have the launch pad set up, we need a structure tower. We're going to need the actual rockets parts. The fuel tanks are pretty cheap. It's just steel, and these guys are pretty cheap as well. So your actually components for the rockets, not too bad. Of course, your rocket assembly machine is the more future pack. And then our fueling station, we're going to need that. That right here. More right here. This is more future pack. And I think the rocket monitoring station, yep, that's the last bit. And that one is more, as you can see, the same recipe. Okay. And then we need our satellite bays, structure tower. I think that's about it for this. This is actually for the satellite terminals. All right, so now what we need to do is run our power cables up under here. And I think I have it set up so, yeah, I can just throw the power cables up under here. And I might as well just throw them right here so that way they're reaching. And I'm going to want a fueling station. I'm going to want a rocket monitoring station. And I'm going to want our rocket assembling station right there. All of which, everything needs power, but this guy, the rocket monitoring station, doesn't require power. This is our fueling station, and this is what's going to fuel our rocket. Now, we need to run pipes, so I think I need to go get which is going to be one of the first times I have to actually go back home. I'm going to actually need some pipes so I can fuel this rocket. Because we're going to be launching 3 rockets today. And we're going to need some hardened ducts. Fluid ducts. Hardened fluid ducts is the ones I need. We just use a normal servo. Sweet. Alright, so I'm going to head back. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the cabling hooked up. We're going to need to just run this over here, and as you can see, it does connect to this block. Even though it doesn't look like it does, it definitely does connect. And then we're going to slap on our servo. Get this guy turned on, not an observer block. Okay, and now it's sending rocket fuel to our station. Perfect. So, now we just need to build the rocket and send our satellites into space. How cool, guys. We are already almost there. Okay, so for this, I'm going to just use a rocket like this. With just, I think we can just do 1 tank setup, I think. We may need to make more tanks, I'm not sure. And then put our satellite bay in there. What we can do now is actually scan the rocket. I do believe. Ow. Just sit there and got hit. Let's put our satellite in there. That's satellite 1. Can we not hit me? Please. We need our linker. I think we can link this to this. Build. Oh wait, I'm totally forgetting something. We forgot to put our structure tower up. So yeah, we need our structure tower on the side, at least as tall as this is. I'm going to build it just a little bit taller. And then we can scan and see if this is good enough. Okay, so fuel. We won't have enough fuel to reach where we need to go. So that's what we're going to, yeah, definitely need some more tanks. There we go. Will this reach? Yes. So this will definitely reach orbit. We haven't more than enough fuel. The weight is right. We may actually even be able to do this. Can we run with 1 less rocket? We technically can, but that looks really derpy. And then actually our satellite bay could probably go up 1. I don't think that'd bother too much. Let's put the satellite bay up. Put the satellite in it. And then close it. There we go. Scan. Do 1 quick scan. And we're looking good. So what we can do is build the rocket. It's actually going to make it a solid structure. And then we can take our linker and link this to our ship. Ow. Come on, man. I cannot stand these mobs. And linked successful. And we can actually watch as it should be able to fuel. It should actually be fueling the rocket, I do believe. After we link this to it as well. Link successful. And as you can see, it is fueling up and it is filled. Now, guys, the only thing left to do is to launch this rocket. That's right. We get to do that now. And that's the only thing that is showing. Oh, look, you can actually see kind of a little line showing that it is, there's like a, it's connected. You can kind of see it. It's connected to the center. That's new. I don't remember that being there. I don't know. But yeah, let's go ahead and launch this thing. We should be able to do it. Let's launch it. Oh boy. And off our rocket goes. How cool is that? I love this mod for the fact that the rockets look real. And that's exactly how this works. Wow. Okay. So we have a rocket gone into space, guys. We are now a rocket scientist. We are producing rocket fuel. We are building rocket ships. we're getting covered in smoke because the smoke is super thick and you can't see a thing through it. Yeah. And we can actually check here to make sure it hit altitude. And there it is. It's in space, guys. That chip is now in space. Now, since it is in space, what we can do is go ahead and give some more power over here. And I'm going to put 3 data guys right here. I think this will work just fine. And we're going to put our data satellite terminals right there. Okay. And then pop these on top. And then this guy is where you put your ID chip. Right here. Alright, so it says not enough power. These guys should be receiving power, I do believe. Connect. No link, not enough power. Now, it should have plenty of power. Power generation 3. Power generation 3. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Maybe that's why this is not an intended route. I don't honestly know. But I do know that's the way it should work. It's actually not getting power here. These guys, the power plugs, are not actually powering this thing. I don't think these get direct power, do they? They do get direct power, okay. Didn't know that. So I made these power plugs for nothing, really. That's great. Okay, so yeah, we can definitely hop up here real quick. And yeah, I'll just move the power up. Now we can hook the one in here. There it goes, it shows the info, connect. And now it's going to store the data inside here. And it's showing this is a distance one. Perfect. Now all we have to do is build some more rockets. And I'm going to have to make some more fuel tank. Alright, so we have our other rockets to go ahead and get made. Oops, I totally derped that up. Maybe put the rocket in the right location. There we go. Satellite bay. Another rocket. Make sure to put our satellite in the bay. Link it with our card. It should be pretty easy after you've done this a few times. Actually, we have to scan and make it solid. Scan first. Build. Now it's a solid object. Shift there. And link. And shift and link. And we can actually watch the fuel build up as it starts to fill there. So, yeah, this is just how we send satellites into space. I'm still kind of confused, though, as to why. I see that the next step is talking about deep space. And it says right here, satellite bays, and this, okay. Okay, so now I need to build a space station where I can go do a research and warp to different planets. I plan to build a space station on another launch pad. Maybe I need to use the same rocket. Not sure yet. Instead of the rocket assembling machine, I need a station assembler. Okay, so I know how to do this station. The space station, I need to, okay. It's not talking about, okay. The space station container needs to go in another satellite bay, part of another unmarked, or unnamed rocket, which I can, or unmanned rocket, which I need to launch in space. Okay, so yeah, that's talking about putting a satellite into space. So that's, I understand. I know how that I know how that part works. I've done that so many times. That should be pretty easy. There we go, launching our other rocket into space. Lovely. But yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out, I guess. Because I'm kind of like racking my brain trying to figure out, do we need to process this further? Because right now this is processing the data here. It's supposed to store it to here when there's no chip. For some reason it's you have to hit connect, I guess, every time. I don't know. Should automatically be connecting. So let's check our rocket. It's about to hit altitude. And Voila, it's in space now. Now we can open this and do space ID chip 1 and connect. Store to buffer. Okay, so that one should be working too. There we go. And all should be good, I think. Man, that actually is really cool. It's kind of like this planet's transparent. You can see the sun's behind it. It's kind of funny. I don't know. So yeah, let's go ahead and get our last rocket built up. Not going to be too difficult, since we've done it several times now. Satellite bay. Put our last satellite in. And it's almost at this point that we should have this down packed. Should be pretty easy. Build it. And link it. Link it. There we go. So, now... Ooh, that made some weird noise, almost as if it was lagging or something. But we should be able to take this, once it's finally fueled up, and launch our last rocket. Let's launch it. Oh boy. That one almost looks like it's struggling, like its thrusters are really struggling there. I hope it makes it. It looks like it might. I don't know, fuel's dropping pretty fast. Man, we have so much rocket fuel, I don't even know what to do with it. I don't think there's any other uses for it. I don't think you can make generators or anything with rocket fuel. I know this is actually consuming fuel. And... oh, it's actually empty. That's full, so is it just filling the pipe up? I guess so. Alright, so is this thing fully in space? It is. So let's go ahead and do this. Connect. There we go. And same with these. It seems like I have to connect them to get them to dump the data in here. But guys, that's how satellites work. I know, it's kind of crazy, but if you guys enjoyed this episode, don't forget to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and also give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And as always, thanks for watching.